Welcome back to Old Studio Car, where every classic has a story to tell. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic automobiles of the late 1940s, a vehicle that represents the elegance, resilience, and optimism of post-war America. You're looking at the 1949 Buick Super Sedan, a car that defined an era of design and engineering. When you first lay your eyes on this Buick, the very first thing that stands out is the grille. Buick's famous waterfall grille became a signature look, and in 1949, it was bigger and bolder than ever before. The wide chrome bars, shaped like a smile, gave the car a commanding presence on the road. It wasn't just a piece of design, it was a statement, a declaration that America was back on its feet after years of hardship during World War II. This was a car that carried pride right on its face. The soft curves of the body are another reminder of the transition in automotive design. Before the war, cars often had sharper, boxier shapes. But by the late 40s, designers were embracing flowing, rounded lines, almost like sculpture in motion. This Buick Super is painted in a light blue shade that enhances those curves, making the car look elegant and approachable, not overly aggressive. It has a warmth, a friendliness, as if it's inviting you to take a ride through time. Step closer, and you'll notice the small details that made Buick stand apart. The portholes on the sides of the hood, for example, were not just ornaments. They were inspired by aircraft engines and became one of Buick's most recognizable features. On this particular model, there are 3 on each side, signifying the super trim level. If you owned a Roadmaster, you got 4. It was a subtle but proud way of showing rank among Buick owners, almost like a badge of honor. The chrome trim running along the sides glimmers with a soft shine, and when the sunlight hits it just right, the whole car comes alive. The wheels are simple steel rims dressed with hubcaps, a design that today feels charmingly modest compared to the flashy alloys of modern vehicles. There's something deeply authentic about them, a reminder of a time when cars were built with straightforward durability in mind. Now imagine yourself opening one of those heavy doors and sliding into the interior. The first thing you'll notice is the sheer space. American cars of this era were designed to be roomy, almost like living rooms on wheels. The seats are wide, cushioned, and upholstered in fabrics that feel soft but strong. The dashboard is a masterpiece of mid-century design. Chrome trim lines every edge, the gauges are simple and easy to read, and the steering wheel is large, giving the driver a sense of control and authority. It's not just a car interior, it's a command center, built with a sense of pride. Under the hood, the 1949 Buick Super was powered by Buick's famous straight-8 engine. This engine was smooth, reliable, and had a distinctive sound that car enthusiasts can still recognize today. It wasn't built for speed in the sense of modern sports cars, but it delivered plenty of power for cruising down long American highways. This was the era of open roads, family vacations, and Sunday drives, and the Buick Super was perfectly suited for that lifestyle. Driving this car must have felt like floating. The suspension was soft, the steering deliberate, and the ride was designed for comfort above all else. In many ways, that's the opposite of today's vehicles, where stiff suspensions and sporty handling are often prioritized. The Buick wasn't about racing to the finish line, it was about enjoying the journey. But beyond the mechanics and the design, what makes this Buick so special is the story it tells about its time. The year was 1949. America was growing rapidly, suburbs were expanding, highways were being built, and people wanted cars that reflected prosperity and progress. The Buick Super was exactly that. It was aspirational, but still within reach for many middle-class families. It symbolized success without being out of touch. Picture a family in 1949, proudly parking their brand new Buick in the driveway of their suburban home. The neighbors come out to admire it, children run their hands along the chrome bumpers, and the father beams with pride knowing he's providing his family with not just transportation, but with a symbol of achievement. That's the power of a car like this. It carried more than just passengers, it carried dreams. Over the decades, many of these cars disappeared. Some were left to rust in barns, some were scrapped, and only a few survived in the condition you see today. That's why finding a Buick Super like this one feels almost magical. It's not just a machine, it's a time capsule. Every curve, every line, every sound of its engine takes us back to a different world, a world where life was slower, simpler, and perhaps a little more hopeful. For collectors today, a Buick Super Sedan is more than an automobile. It's an heirloom, a piece of rolling history. Restoring one requires patience, resources, and above all, love for the craft. And when you finally see one fully restored, gleaming under the sunlight, it's impossible not to feel respect for the designers, engineers, and workers who built it over 70 years ago. This particular car, with its worn blue paint and gently aged chrome, tells a story not just of the Buick brand, but of all the lives it touched. Maybe it carried a young couple on their first date, or a family on a summer road trip. Maybe it was there when children were brought home from the hospital, or when suitcases were packed for a move to a new city. Every dent, every scratch, every mile on the odometer holds a memory. And that's why we share these cars on Old Studio Car. Because these vehicles are not just objects of metal and rubber, they are storytellers. They connect us to the past, they remind us of where we've been, and they inspire us to cherish craftsmanship, design, and the beauty of the journey. So as you look at this Buick Super, imagine the rumble of its straight-8 engine, the smooth glide of its suspension, the chrome sparkling under a summer sky. Imagine the hands that turned its steering wheel, the laughter that filled its cabin, the stories whispered within its doors. That is the magic of classic cars. Here at Old Studio Car, we believe that every classic deserves to be remembered, not just for what it was, but for what it represented. The Buick Super was more than just transportation. It was hope on four wheels, rolling proof that the future was bright. And even today, more than 70 years later, that hope still shines every time we see one. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you enjoyed stepping back in time with us, make sure to stay tuned, because every car we feature here on Old Studio Car has a story worth telling.